Zoom webinar today, our Zoom webinar together with a Facebook webinar. So today we are actually glad that we have three different speakers in three different area of the digital world. So the first one is Mr. Gael, which is a director of MUST Experience Company, and he actually, Mr. Gael has been already he has 18 years of experience in Malaysia, and he has a strong understanding of a Malaysia market. He is also the founder of Mass Experience, which is a boutique marketing agency, and he has already serviced lots of the prestigious international clients in Malaysia. And the second speaker is Mr. Ernie Tan. He is the co-founder and the director of Willstack. He's an entrepreneur with a vast IT experience, which he has a connection with and collaboration with businessmen, lots of business and the industry leaders in the market. And third speaker is Mr. Garner, which is also the Chief Operating Officer of First Digital Trust, which is a trust company who is actually giving the custodian service for the digital asset. So three of them have three totally different aspect of the digital industry. So today we have some questions direct to them so that they can actually share with their views about the market today. So before we start, we'll ask one question is towards the three speakers. Can you introduce your company and also service, and also including your company's mission and vision? So the first, we would like to invite Mr. Ernie to start with the forum first. So Mr. Ernie, are you in the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Ernie, yeah. So over to you.
All right. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Ernie, the director and co-founder of Willstack. Our tagline is implementing ideas into reality. I thought of this because it sort of represents what we do for our clients. We basically develop their ideas into workable concepts and applications. Next. A little bit about our company. We are a wholly owned Malaysian company. We were established in 2018, but we actually began as a partnership before that. We are a one-stop IT solutions provider focusing on web and mobile application development. We are trustworthy and innovative with more than 20 years of IT experience, combining IT development, infrastructure, and business development as well. Next. Our mission is actually to build a team of highly dedicated professionals for all disciplines so that we can provide integrity and leading services, IT services for our clients. Our vision is to be one of the leading IT solution providers in the region and to be able to offer a wide spectrum of services and to be the preferred choice of IT service provider in Malaysia. What have we done? We've actually began, as I mentioned, as a partnership back in 2016, where we were supplying, we were very much a hardware-based company. We were supplying lots of workstations and PCs to our clients. And as time grew on, we saw that there was kind of a space for web and mobile applications development, in which we shifted our focus towards that. And in 2018, we consolidated and formed the Sdn Berhad, and we started to go towards that. And since then, we've received recognition as one of the fastest growing entrepreneur IT companies in Malaysia. And we have since expanded into the southern region as well. Next. Here are some of the memberships and achievements that we have. We're currently a member of the Malaysia Digital Chamber of Commerce, MDCC, as well as a member of the United Nations Global Compact Malaysia. We are much dedicated to actually running a sustainable business. So this is right up our alley. We've received recognition as Emerging Young Entrepreneur of the Year in GBLA 2019, as well as receiving an Excellence in Software Development Award in MIBA Awards 2019. We've been featured in The Page and also WagaBiz publications. You can see the next page. Yeah, these are some of the publications and awards that we've gotten. So what does Willstack do? Basically, We provide fully customized web and mobile applications development, covering a variety of platforms. We do web design and e-commerce solutions for clients as well. We provide administration services and infrastructure IT consultation, business management software solutions such as ERP, HRMS, and CRM. We do some other sorts of business such as 3D modeling and rendering with penetration testing services as well through our partners. So we offer actually quite a wide range of IT services as it is. Next. So these are some of the clients that we've been working with in the past. Right. Our management team, we basically are a, how do you say, a wonder duo. So Wilson is the CEO of the company, and he's been in charge of business development and marketing. He is the chief strategist. So he's a pathfinder for the company. Whereas I'm the COO and the technical guy with 20 years of experience in the IT industry. I handle all the operations and infrastructure side of things. Right? What are we looking for post COVID-19 and also right now? As I mentioned, we've already expanded to a southern region. We've established presence there in order to cover Singapore as well. So right now, what we're looking at is to actually expand to the northern region, as well as developing our own platform, which is very service-oriented and education-oriented as well. So basically, that's a bit of information and a bit of history about our company. And this is our contact information. If you need to know more, please get in touch with me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ernie. So, so next, we would like to invite Mr. Gunner to share with us about the first digital.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So my name is Gunner. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for First Digital Trust. First Digital Trust is a Hong Kong-based public trust company. And trust companies in Hong Kong are essentially non-bank financial institutions. And the MCM Group kindly have asked me today to share a little bit about my personal experience and our company's experience, how we have navigated through the COVID situation, and what has been our strategy. Our company is headquartered in Hong Kong. As I mentioned, we are a licensed financial institution. And in terms of our clients, our primary focus is actually primarily on B2B clients. And what that essentially means is that we are servicing many of the industry players, whether they're wallet providers, money service businesses, trading platforms, exchanges, or token issuers. For people that are familiar with blockchain and all of these industries. But we act as a B2B provider. We provide financial services. We provide financial technology, and we provide the infrastructure to the whole technology industry. In terms of what we do, there are a few core areas that we focus on. We hold our clients' assets. We also provide settlement and clearing services when it comes to movement of money and assets and all kinds of financial instruments. And we also provide trustee and fiduciary services. In many cases, people might not be familiar with First Digital Trust on a retail level, as we are not a retail service provider. But many of the digital apps that interact with banking system in one way or another are using our services. So you might be using, let's say, a money transfer app, and you might even not be knowing that we are powering some of the solutions behind the scenes. I'll keep the first slides short and sweet, but I think the main point is today's topic is how to digitize. And where I try to bring my experience is that the digital industry is not new when it comes to banking and financial services. Financial services industry has been digitizing for the past 10 years, and later on I'll share a little bit about what our experience has been and what the impact has been. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gunnar. So next, we would like to invite Mr. Gail to share with us about your company.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So yeah, my name is Gail. I'm the co-founder of Must Experience. So basically, Must stands for Marketing, Unit, Service, and Trade. The reason why I chose this name originally is because I wanted to have a company as wide as possible to do any type of businesses that I wanted to do. But basically, I was an event management company. And if I didn't innovate for the past 15 or 17 years I've been in business, today I'll be dead. An event company today during COVID-19 basically have no chance of surviving. So what happened is slowly and slowly I had to evolve. And from an event company, I started to realize that I needed to have my own manpower. So I started to provide all these manpowers, those MCs, those promoters and stuff. And then I had to involve further to provide my own graphic design and all my own creatives. I involved further when I saw that there was a digital need happening in Malaysia and around the world in 2009, and I opened my digital agency, which is today probably the most profitable branch of my companies which are working. So I work with clients just like Pepsi, Unilever, Famous Amos, Campbell's. My clients are more the type of the kind that you see very regularly on TV and you'll see very regularly in your shopping malls and extra. I work with big agencies. However, I'm a very small and boutique marketing agency. So we are marketing consultants, and the way I position myself is I go and fight all this Goliath, all these giants like Publicis, like Naga, BBDO, and I go and win pitches against those people, and I win. The reason why I win is because we are providing the same quality of service that they're providing. However, we are a smaller team. We are a lot faster and reactive, and we are a lot more hands-on when it comes to local markets. So this is how Must Experience has been created. I specialize in integrated marketing. I'm a very strong believer that offline and online have to interact with each other. So whenever you are running some on-ground activities, if there is no linkage to your online activity and your online link back to your on-ground, your offline to online is a cycle that cannot be broken. You have to treat your customers as new customers when they restart the cycle, and this is one of the things that we are very strong in. So we come out with marketing campaigns. We're an extended marketing arm for those clients, just as like the ones I mentioned earlier, and we develop those campaigns here in Malaysia.
All right, it's quite interesting. It's more on the agility of a company and also how to move far. All right, okay, thank you, Mr. Gail. Okay, next we have a question. How is your company doing during the COVID-19, and what is your expectation towards the post MCO era? I would like to actually invite Mr. Gunnar to actually share with us about this topic first.
Sure. Thank you. So I guess a good point to start here is sort of where I left off before, is that the financial industry has been digitizing for years already. And what you have seen globally is actually the financial industry is probably the less hit by this whole COVID situation. And one of the reasons is that companies in this space have been heavily investing into digitalization. So people are not going to banks that much anymore in person, and you know almost everybody can do their transactions online. And these are sort of just the tip of the iceberg of this industry. So overall, if you ask what has been the impact, I would say the impact has actually been quite small or minimal. Where we have seen interesting trends really is that in a situation of uncertainty, the markets usually tend to go haywire, and there tends to be a lot of volatility in the markets. But anybody that's providing services to the whole financial industry globally is benefiting from that. So in terms of, if you look at our revenues and if you look at our operations, we actually have never been so busy before, because people are moving assets from one asset class to another, and there's just a lot of transactions happening. And ultimately, that's good for the bottom line because, you know, in our space, every transaction generates revenue, and in that sense, it has been good. A few other areas that I also wanted to look at is maybe what have been the challenges. It's not all rosy. It's been quite an interesting time actually. I think where we faced challenges before was to get our staff and our internal team members to use technology. We're very good at getting our clients to implement technology, but you know, quite often internally, if you're a big organization, you still have people that are quite resistant, and if you don't have a really push for that, it's difficult to get technology in place internally. So every business owner that wants to digitize has to think about that really. What COVID has really done for us and I think for a lot of the companies is the situation has essentially forced the people to use alternative means, since everybody has to work from home. So even simple things like using Zoom for the calls, video calls, using Teams and all these messaging apps. What was very difficult to do before was to get staff to use it, because it's mainly a habitual thing. But now, because of the situation and because there was no other alternative, we've seen really an uptick and uptake in use of these platforms. And as we start moving back to the offices and as we start working from the offices again, I think this is something that will stick around for a while. So there has been an upside in terms of technology adaptation, and that's always been a challenge. But I hope really that there are some new patterns, some new habits formed here. Another thing that I would say was a bit challenging is that this time is a very good time to have a test of your recovery plans, disaster recovery plans, and emergency plans. It's very common for companies, for example, in the US and Europe, to have disaster recovery plans in place. But from my own experience, I know that many companies in Asia they don't tend to do these things. And for us, fortunately, we had a disaster recovery plan in place, and that was essentially executed when the virus situation escalated, when the travel stopped, when people had to work from home. We had computers ready, we had plans how to secure client data, and while still allowing people to work from home. There are some sacrifices that we had to make in terms of limiting people's access, but it wasn't that difficult. So this is an important lesson, sort of as an operating person, that I learned is the time investment that you make into having disaster recoveries in place might seem burdensome when everything is okay, but when really things go wrong, disaster recovery plans are extremely important. And finally, what we also learned is it's important to plan for what's next, essentially. And that doesn't mean general business strategy. It means that if there is a disaster, then what's the next steps for the company, and those plans need to be made quite rapidly and quite fast. So let's look at some of the expectations that we have towards the post-MCO area. I think it's very helpful to look at it in sort of 4 phases. So the first step was obviously reaction. We knew COVID was out there. For us in Hong Kong, we saw what happened in China, and we were already quite comfortable with this. In Malaysia, for example, things were quite calm until I believe it was till March. So that was the first sort of phase when the world in general started reacting to that. And that's past. We won't spend too much time on this today. That's already behind us. The next step was resilience, and resilience was where everybody had to adapt. We had to, work from home. We had to adapt to this new situation, and most of the people have been actually doing pretty great. Um, in some countries, maybe even the government support hasn't been that great, but people still survive. And in these situations, people tend to get creative and find creative ways how to survive and how to be resilient. Again, this is already, like when we were talking about maybe Hong Kong or Malaysia, this is already starting to be behind us. Countries are opening up slowly. We're not back to the normal yet, but it's behind us. So let's not focus, maybe not so much on that, but let's focus on the lessons that we learned from that. And right now we're in the recovery mode, I would say, in most countries, Europe, Asia, difficult to say that for US, but definitely in Canada, and Latin America and Africa is still having issues with high number of cases. But overall, I would say we're in the recovery mode. And what that really means is we have to take the lessons we learned from this, and the recovery mode is the time when you want to take the action. Every crisis presents an opportunity, and you will be already too late after the crisis has been fully over, and all your competitors are already one leg up. So recovery is the time. If you haven't already started doing planning yet, this is the time to start doing planning. Look at the lessons, what we learned, and time to start taking action. And finally, after recovery, so let's look into the future. What comes after recovery, right? So that's what we are planning for. It's the new reality. It's the new normal. So as I mentioned, people had to face difficult challenges. They had to become more creative, find creative solutions to their problems, and maybe also adapt some new behaviors. Like I said, for example, communicating more with colleagues from, or business partners over, apps like Zoom, what we're using today. And I think this is the underlying theme. What is the new reality? I think a lot of these habits are going to be sticking with people. I heard somebody to say that it takes about 30 days to form a habit. Well, guess what? We're into this situation 90 days already. So there's large amounts of people, not only in Hong Kong or not only in Malaysia, that have formed these new habits. And as entrepreneurs or as business owners or anybody that's running a business, now is the time really to capitalize on that. That you have all of these people out there, and the smart business move is not to go out there to create a market, but to serve the existing market. So what I'm trying to say is the focus should be on how do you serve and how do you fulfill the needs of this new group of people globally that have formed all of these new habits. And I think some of the more specifics we're going to be answering in the private Q&A. But I think this is really the key message that I wanted to give all the entrepreneurs out there, and anybody that's considering maybe changing their business direction in this situation, or taking new services to the market, is think about what next. Think who's your target market, and don't wait to take action, because if you do, you will lose the first mover advantage essentially. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gunnar. I agree with you. I see that there's lots of people actually out there that have some reaction on this kind of a situation. But actually, it's not about what's happening, but actually how you react on the whole situation. I actually encounter quite a lot of entrepreneurs. They are actually more, they are busier than ever. Although a lot of people say they can't do anything at home, but we see that those entrepreneurs, they're actually doing a lot of things. For example, designing the strategies, planning, and also executive thing, the new strategies just to cater for, or just to actually handle this kind of a situation. Like for example, embracing the new normal. So thank you, Mr. Garner, for sharing with us about this. So next, we would like to actually like to invite Mr. Gail to share with us about your view on this topic. So, Mr. Gail.
Right. So, how is my company doing? I have to say that my company is doing pretty well, and we are awfully busy. But it has actually a history. Like I mentioned earlier, when I started in event management, I suffered a lot. I'm talking about like 15 years ago. We suffered a lot from communication breakdowns. We were not connected with people in the field. So when you're running a small event is okay, but when you're running large events at the different locations, then it becomes very, very complicated. So when the first smartphone came out, I jumped on it because it was, for me, it was extremely important to be connected, and I applied that to a fault in my company. So in my company, everything is computerized, everything is digitalized. All our files are in the cloud. Anybody, we are communicating in the office when we are sitting next to each other via chat rooms, via whatever technology that you can find. Why is it? Because it's simpler. We can track back the conversation that we were having, and it makes things basically faster and more efficient. And faster and more efficient in a company are words that bosses really like to hear because it often equals to profitability. And this is something that we are looking at as business owners. So when COVID-19 came and all my staff couldn't come to office, I said, what's new? Actually, they don't have working hours in my office. They can come whenever they want. If they decide to work from home one day, it's okay. So we were very prepared, not by the pandemic, but we're just very prepared when we had to stay home. So I'm very happy and very lucky in that sense. So after that, we got very, very busy is because our clients were not prepared. And our clients were needed to come out from their comfort zone. So here I'll divide my clients into two types of categories. Those who are very agile and who can pivot very quickly on this new normal, on this new this pandemic, and those who couldn't, who had a lot of bureaucracy. They have to refer, they had to get approval from their departments, from their heads, decide on the next step and the strategy. So what happened is those who are very agile, they could shift and pivot their strategies, and they can decide that even though their online presence was not very strong, it had to be done, and it had to be done quickly, not perfectly. So the moment that you needed to have an online presence is just that you needed to be seen by your consumers. You need to be seen by your customers. You need to be able to show that you still exist, even though you don't have a physical presence. And a lot of customers, or my clients, understood this need, and they came out from their comfort zone and decided, okay, let's do it. I know that you have been telling us to do it for a long time, but let's do it now. And so they decided to open their Facebook pages, for instance. They decided to launch their e-commerce website, which was not fully ready, but simply because they wanted to start selling to their consumers. Those who were not even ready to launch their e-commerce website just created some landing pages, just some ways actually to have some connection with their customers and their customer service, because a lot of people also customer service is done through phones or through emails, and because they didn't have their proper servers set up when you're at home, they couldn't access the emails they're supposed to receive from their customer service, because often customer service is you have like 5 or 10 people answering phones in the same room with a manager or director who's directing all these people. When everybody's from home, suddenly there's a breakdown in communication. There's a problem. How do I refer it to someone else? How do I get some advice from my colleagues? And suddenly all this was gone. So digitalization doesn't come only from putting your files onto a server, coming out with the digital strategies, coming out with the social media presence and stuff, but it also comes on internal basis on how you communicate with the rest of the company, and making sure that you have set up all the necessary tools for people to be able to communicate at the highest level. What I mean is when I receive a complaint from a customer, for instance, for your customer service, you receive a complaint from a customer and I'm handling it. I'm not working 24 hours 7, and there need to be some follow-up. And if I don't have the proper tools for the people who are going to take my shift after me, who answer that party to customers, we are going to waste very valuable time. And during a time where consumers have a very short attention span, they get upset very fast because they have nothing else to do. They are sitting at home. And so they get upset with the situation and they'll have to lash it out on someone. So from my side, like I say, we've been pretty busy. Our clients have kept us busy because those who are agile, we managed to set up their digital strategies, and it was quite fun. Those who couldn't, we are still until today trying to convince them 90 days later why they should do the things that they should be doing. And it's going to take them forever actually to recuperate from this, but that's their problem. I think overall, what you need to learn from this is how you get out from your comfort zone. The previous speaker was talking about it takes 30 days to make a habit. Yes, to make it a habit, you have to do a first step. You have to come out from your comfort zone. And this COVID-19 has forced us to come out from our comfort zone and forced us to do things that we were not willing to do before. And this, to me, is very, very important on how we can capitalize on this. Not only as us as entrepreneurs or as businesses, but also as consumers. All consumers have shifted their way of consuming products, consuming services. If we don't change with our consumers, if we are not agile as a company, internal communication is one problem. But if we're not agile and with our consumers, we are going to die, and we're going to die very, very fast. So what is happening is a lot of companies, entrepreneurs especially, what they're doing at the moment is they're firefighting. The COVID-19, I need to get my product online. I need to come out with this. So yes, they're coming out from the comfort zone. They're trying to catch up a little bit with the lost time, which I think is okay. But 90 days later, they're just still firefighting. They still haven't sit down and thought about what's next. What is the future? What is the strategy? You're telling that the previous speaker was saying that every businesses appear to be very, very busy. Even though people are at home, but they're super, super busy. Why? Is because they had to rewrite their mission. They rewrite to have their strategy. They have to rewrite everything. They've been doing the same business for the past 50 years, 100 years, 10 years or whatever. And suddenly overnight, they have to change their whole strategy. Why they haven't done it before? Why they were so comfortable doing their business before, like their grandparents were doing, their great-great-grandparents are doing it. It's wrong. Their strategy already was wrong. Doing the same way we do things over and over again. So those who are agile, not only in internal, but also in external communication, they will be the most successful. Why? Is because they'll be able to start thinking forward and thinking that tomorrow, a digital presence on social media, on e-commerce, getting people to purchase your services on your products via WhatsApp and stuff like that, it's not enough. It is not enough. This is already the old days, like 3 months ago. The future is how we are changed. The digital sphere has totally changed. How do we interact with the consumers from a totally different angle? I'll give you one example. I have one of my customer. They are selling some product in a store, in a retail store, and they were asking, okay, Gail, what you're saying is nice, but how do we implement it? So I said, it's simple. Before COVID-19, people would have never make a Zoom call or FaceTime call to make a purchase. They will call the outlet and say, yeah, I would like to check, do you have this sweater in that particular size? Say, yes, sir, we have it. Please come to our outlet and then buy it. The second norm would be, yes, we have it. You can go online and purchase it online and you'll receive it to your mailbox. Tomorrow, what you can do is you can have a personal shopper. I FaceTime you or I Zoom you in your retail store. I have a salesperson who's answering my call. So you have a physical presence who is walking around the store and shopping for you, who go to the cashier, send you the bill, you make an online payment, and either I deliver to you, or you can come and collect from your store. So this is a very simple new experience of retail shopping, but nobody is thinking on business. They are leading edge that international company. So it's not as gloomy as we expect a bit there, but carry on and thinking, strategizing what is your next steps, whatever comes to you is not difficult.
Jobs that we on Zoom and we go to the service. This is a new norm, and with a lot of a business model they are picking up this. So hopefully for those entrepreneurs on the line, our GIC members who are actually doing the business, hopefully after this COVID-19 incidents and after the MCO, you will be turned out stronger rather than just bit by this occasion. So thank you, Mr. Gale again. So next, we would like to invite Mr. Ernie to actually share with us about his view on the post-COVID-19 market. So Mr. Ernie?
Yes, hi everyone. I do agree 100% with Mr. Gunner and Mr. Gale, what they've mentioned. This is a time which ultimately tests your disaster recovery plans and strategies. But in this case, you definitely need to expect the unexpected, right? In terms of reaction, this pandemic was definitely way out of expectations of almost everyone, I believe. You will need to cater to the needs of the customers of the new normal. To me, this is actually a very major paradigm shift in terms of industry and business. It's pretty much shaken up the travel and retail industries, especially. They need to really revamp their business strategies and to be able to catch up with what IT companies have been doing all along, right? To me, it's all about adaptation, survival of the fastest, not only to stop the leak of funds, but also to find alternate ways for business continuity in terms of business management, communications, and maintaining your sources of income. If you haven't had the chance to think about digitalization, you need to strategize and take action now. Think about what you need to do not only for firefighting, but also beyond that. Even exploring new technologies or methods such as AI, AR, or even virtual reality. For example, what you mentioned just now, when you're going to showrooms, what technologies could best be used for that? Definitely virtual reality or augmented reality, right? Of course, right now, as the saying goes, out of adversity comes opportunity. There are a lot of people who has recognized this very early on, and currently are at the forefront of turning this pandemic into an opportunity. As such, I would really consider us quite lucky because our business is actually booming, and we've been actually far busier than we've actually been during the MCO period than any other time. Other companies, I'm sure, especially IT companies, those especially fintech, they probably be doing very well right now, and investment companies as well. We received a lot of inquiries from small and medium businesses who are actually playing catch up to getting their online game on. Okay, like a lot of retail, we've received a lot of retail customers who want to get online. They want to sell through e-commerce. So we've received a lot of projects such as this. Essentially, those who knew that if they wanted to survive, they will have to evolve. They will come and look for us. Our business model has allowed us the privilege of working from home, and this has allowed us to really thrive in the environment. We've done everything from development to customer service and maintenance through online or remote means. We've been communicating all the while with our customers, even before MCO, through online methods. So this is not actually a big change for us. Of course, this also allowed us to protect our employees, or not only from a health standpoint, but also from uncertainty, as we are able to protect them from job uncertainties, right? So in keeping with our regulations, we've all been working from home up until recently, but of course, we always prioritize safe working protocols at all times. So post MCO, what can we expect? Simply put, we all have to embrace the new normal. Those who can't or are unable to cope will be left behind. It's as simple as that. Something that's going to happen is that the mindset of people towards IT is going to change. It's common fact that while most people deem IT to be important, it's still relatively overlooked or second-rated as compared to, let's say, sales or marketing. That's usually the case. It's like when you want to upgrade your company's network or infrastructure, the traditional business would pause or give thought to, oh, I rather spend this money for marketing or sales instead, rather than putting it in IT. So businesses have actually started paying more attention to IT. In order for you to even continue running your business, be it your business management or e-commerce. Let's say that if you think IT was important before, it just started to become the main star, and it's about damn time. IT is everywhere. You just can't avoid it. I think that's all I have to share for it right now, because I think Mr. Garner and Mr. Gale has already covered a lot of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ernie. Let us thank three of our speakers today for sharing lots of valuable point of views and their information in this industry. So for those in the Zoom, you can actually click